This is the Catalyst Effect, another special feature of the Voice of the Founders. I am your host, Isaac Carter, and we are doing a special focus on the Lion's Den, which is a Christian investing and entrepreneurship event that's happening at the end of April. There'll be a link to the Lion's Den when this video is posted, so you'll be able to click that there. And I am here with Dr. Tyrone Moodley. Tyrone, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your business.
So yeah, I was born and raised in Zimbabwe.
Awesome.
My mother's Zambian, my father's South African. I moved to the U.S. when I was just 17 years old to attend the University of Texas at San Antonio.
Okay.
I lived in Texas in San Antonio for over a decade. Go Roadrunners.
I love San Antonio.
I worked in Austin in e-commerce,
Okay.
and I got recruited to go to Raleigh, North Carolina, where I worked for a large e-licensing company. And then eventually I moved to Toronto after that to work in e-procurement for one of the largest procurement companies in North America.
Wow.
And after that, I started working for one of the largest mortgage companies in Canada, building hedging software and mortgage-backed securities on Bay Street. And
Wow.
then I got recruited to work for one of the largest insurance companies, building, integrating large insurance companies from the U.S. and England and Ireland, and reporting to the global head of architecture. And at the same time, I had started a consulting company after that, building NFT marketplaces on
Okay.
Upwork. So I got to learn more in the crypto space, and so I've just basically been in traditional finance and decentralized finance, and trying to figure out how to combine the two to change the world and provide credit for people in my mother's village, essentially.
Nice. Are you still in Toronto?
I'm based just outside Toronto in a town called Kitchener-Waterloo, which is
Okay.
is known as the Silicon Valley North.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had the opportunity to be there and compete in a code launch last year.
Okay.
It was have you ever been to El Mombacho?
No. What is that?
Really, really cool event center there in Toronto.
Okay.
Had a really good time there. We actually won the Code Launch Challenge Professional Coder League belt while we were up there. So I had a real good time in Toronto. The food in Toronto is awesome. Very, very,
Yes,
very
I think
awesome.
it's some of the best. I mean,
Yeah.
The problem is every time I go and I eat the Thai food at this place called Pai. I don't know if you went to Pai.
I've been there.
Yeah.
It is awesome. Yeah,
And
very.
it's hard to not go there.
The
Again.
plating, the way they plate the food is so impressive too. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So I like to know who the guest is, and then who your market is. Who are you solving problems for? You mentioned that you're creating a marketplace so people in your mom's village can have access to credit. Is that what your startup is? Tell us about your startup.
That's how we started. So about 2018, I attended a conference in Toronto, a fintech conference, and the lady giving the keynote was dressed up as a cat, even though
Okay.
it wasn't Halloween. And she was the CEO of Dapper Labs, which builds crypto kitties. I don't know if you remember crypto
Yeah.
kitties.
Okay.
So they were at the time. I think they were worth like $2 billion, and they had these male NFT cats and the female NFT cats, and both cats had DNA, and you could mate them and make more kittens, and it was just so, the idea was just so far out there. But what impressed me was that one of these kittens or one of these cats was worth $1 million, about 400 ether, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it, because I said, how is it that this NFT is worth $1 million, but my uncle in the village has 5,000 cows, and he can't get credit for, even for one cow.
Yeah.
If he does get a loan, the loans are like 50% with the loan sharks. So I started back then started thinking like, what if we could tokenize the cows or the animals? Like, would we be able to access liquidity from the international market so we can provide cheap loans to the farmers in my mother's village? And then that's the only thing I started doing. So So I almost went around the world preaching about this concept, and I went to Zambia and I started talking about it. And then I went to a conference in Vegas. I started talking about it. A conference in Toronto, and I started talking about it. And people were like, cows, like tokenizing cows, and they laugh like, ha ha ha. So, but the concept was so like it was almost like I just had been given this mission to start working on this, and I started just building and building and building and building, and eventually realized that it's not just cows, it's anything, it's goats, it's cars, it's land, it's any. This was before people started talking about real world assets, right?
Okay.
I don't want to say that I came up with the idea, but I started talking about it before everyone.
Okay.
And this was because I lived through hyperinflation in Zimbabwe from 2004 to 2008. I experienced 5 quintillion% inflation. So I used to watch the prices go up in real time as you go to the grocery store. The prices were doubling. One story was at one of the grocery stores, the dog food went up. I picked up the last batch of dog food at 20 million, and the new inventory was 40 million. So the prices were just doubling like that. So anything that had intrinsic value kept its value, right? So if you had a car, if you had land, if you had gold, or at the time it was US dollars, anything that had hard
But
currency.
consumables were flipping over
Exactly.
very quickly. Okay.
So that's the idea. It was, how do you basically provide value for people with hard assets?
Okay. So your business right now, what is your business called?
So the business is called Ndeipi, and Ndeipi means "what's up" in Shona in the local language in Zimbabwe. But what's happened is when we started building the crypto market in the U.S. and Canada, it wasn't accepting. So, but when Trump came in, we sort of pivoted to include the U.S. market in our project, and we created an entity called Believe in Unity, which is a non-profit that my partner Ken in LA he's running that, and the idea is that we're using our technology to basically create this Cash App like application called Believe Cash for the churches in Texas.
Okay. So help me connect the dots here. You have a physical object, or in this case, something that carries DNA, a cow, a goat, a farm animal, and you're attempting to tokenize, or you've successfully tokenized that?
So we've created a tokenization engine.
Okay.
Basically, it's tokenization as a service platform. Think of it like PayPal meets Coinbase, and it can tokenize anything. So we can we even have a RESTful service, and you can send it an image, you can send it data, and it'll tokenize it on any EVM blockchain.
Okay. All right. So I go and I get an image of my cow or whatever object I have. I tokenize that. I just got done installing decals and running boards and stuff on my new truck. So I could take a new picture of the truck, tokenize it.
Right.
And then what?
And you put it on our platform. So what's happened is we've now made agreements with certain entities in Zambia where we will be tokenizing the entire operation. So they have solar farms, they have copper cathode production, they grinding maize. There's agricultural components there as well, like farmers that are part of the whole operation. There's
so you have a token. It's on your platform.
Right. So we have a utility token, right?
Okay.
So that utility token, we can then mint NFTs, which are security tokens, right? So so I take the in this case, let's call it a goat or cow token. You take the picture of the cow, and we link it to the farmer. But there's also a RWA registry in Zambia that is sort of it's in accordance to the Zambian law. So it's almost like a share, like a REIT in a way. If you think about a REIT.
Okay.
So we basically just tokenize that REIT as a share. So when you buy our token through our platform, you're owning the actual share in Zambia, and that share can be either a cow, or it could be, a piece of a gold mine or a piece of a copper mine.
Okay, so when I buy that share and I buy, let's say I buy half of you, a token that represents half of your uncle's cow, for
Right.
example, do I now own a portion of the physical asset?
You basically are giving a loan to my uncle,
Okay,
and he's basically paying a yield on that loan. If he
got it.
fails to pay that, then you would take control of the asset.
Okay.
Or
All
yeah,
right, so I could either get shares or I could own part of a cow in Zambia.
yeah. So you could pay back the loan, right? Or you
Got
could
it.
pay the yield or the interest on the loan. But in the case of the mining sector, you are buying future gold. So we have miners that
Yeah,
need
okay.
working capital to invest into equipment. So they mine the gold and the copper. When they produce the actual physical product, you can either get the physical product, or, like, let's say gold goes
Got it.
to 20,000 an ounce, you can sell your gold at $20,000 an ounce, or you can get access to the physical product.
Okay, so this is a manner to, like, we have I used to do micro loans through
Right.
I forget the name of the platform. So this is a manner to do the micro loan at a reasonable interest, but secure it so that I know that if I'm giving a loan to your uncle, that he has an asset that he's putting up as partial equity, and I have a manner to enforce or to retrieve a security on that loan, which dramatically reduces my risk, which allows me to have a much lower interest for your uncle.
Because interest in some of the villages are like 50%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. I have employees in Nicaragua that have 22% interest rate on their car loans.
And that's cheap.
that's
That's cheap.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
because it's a secured asset for a new vehicle, and it's underwritten by the dealership and the manufacturer. So yeah, so in the United States, we freak out when the interest rate's over 7%, and 7% is like people around the world would love that. Like they would, the economies would.
7% is nice.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I get it. Took me a minute to get there, but I understand now. You are creating a mechanism where somebody could create a tokenized version of a real asset and then use that with security in Zambia, and I'm sure you're talking to heads of other countries, to
Well, we
expand
focus
that.
just on Zambia for now, because Zambia is like one of the most, I call it the Switzerland of Africa, because they respect property rights, and they're not on any gray lists. You can move money in. The government respects investors. So
Nice.
it's a safe investment center.
Good to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've experienced the other way a few times in my dealings with international countries, but yeah. Awesome. All right. So you mentioned that you felt God was leading you to do this, and I could definitely see the social good, the social aspects of allowing farmers and businesses in developing nations to access reasonable interest rates, and that would just make an economy flourish. But what is the kingdom aspect of this? How are you? What is the spiritual benefit of working with and funding your company?
So as I mentioned, my mother basically, she came to me, and she asked me the one day. She said, "What are you doing for Africa?"
Okay.
And my mother's very religious. She's she prays for me all the time. We pray together sometimes, and she always taught me that sometimes it's not about building for yourself, but it's for building for others. Being holding the spiritual values that are helping and lift other people up. Because in this world today, there's so much exploitation going on,
Yeah.
And if you look at the teachings in the Bible, and if you look at what how Jesus lived, if we could just live like Jesus and apply those same rules, we can make the world a better place, right?
Okay, I love it. I wholeheartedly agree. So what is what's the progress, the current status of your company? Are you operational? Can I go and buy NFTs on your platform, on your marketplace today?
So we just got a 30 million token subscriptions from some investment bankers in New York,
Nice.
and we're about to list the token Ndeipi coin on Coinbase and Binance. We've signed a huge project, a huge deal in Zambia with one of the largest, as I mentioned, the artisanal mining group, and we in the process of launching that particular project. Our app is still in beta. We're still, finishing a bit of the final touches, doing some security checks on it, on the token.
Sure.
But once the actual token launches, then we can start trading, and people can start tokenizing their projects. Our focus is to focus on projects that we get involved in. So we become almost like a Deloitte. We go into the company, we embed ourselves, we sit on their board. Some of us become managing directors, and part of the reason is because I'm sitting there and I'm saying that I not that I guarantee, but I'm making sure that this project is an actual project and people's money is safe. Because that's one of the challenges with Africa is like, if I send money to, Burkina Faso, for example, am I going to get money back? Or is it whatever project? Sorry, go ahead.
One of my startups is Mission's fundraising application for doing projects, building schools, and so I've heard from two different people just this week that in Africa you can send money and then you don't know what it's used for. So the accountability and the follow-up and the engagement after the fact is really, really critical. And that's not just in Africa. That's in Latin America.
It's everywhere.
That's
even in America, right? In Canada.
Yeah. I'm really critical of, like, Compassion International. I'm very critical of them. I give $49 a month to Compassion International, and a very small fraction, a few dollars a month, gets down to the kid that I donate to. And I got coloring book pages from two different kids. I got the same exact coloring book page from one kid, and then 2 months later, the other kid. You look them up; they're exactly the same. It's not. I don't believe in. And I'll say this plainly: I don't believe in Compassion International. I stopped working with them completely, and I want to work directly with the end, with the school in Hinatepe, Nicaragua, or Chinandega, or the actual mission that in Tegucigalpa, Honduras. So I want to see how we can have meaningful change without 90% of the donation going to the organization. That's what I'm excited about. So here you're micro but macro. You're looking at enablement and entrepreneurship at a large level in developing countries and providing them finance and accountability. And they have to be two sides of the same coin. I don't know if you like my pun there, because you're doing crypto coins. So if you have to explain it, it's not very good. But no, I love it. I like your project. Tokenizing real assets and real projects so that you can have a secured valuation certainly reduces risks for investors. And NFTs, I see a lot of people making cartoon like characters and then tokenizing it and then saying, "Look, this is worth $10 million." It's like, why? Because it's an
That's the
NFT.
crypto kitties, right? That's crypto kitties.
It's like I could take a DNA sample from my cat, tokenize it, and it's not worth $1 million. I'm sorry, I like what you're doing, where you have a tangible, real-world asset that is tokenized so that it's more reachable and secured, but still has recognition from the government on the actual asset connected to it. Really, really clever. Really good project. I'd love to. I'd love to have my producer follow back up with you in a few months when you're live, so we could talk a little bit more about it and maybe actually see the marketplace. But real good project. I love it. I love it. Very, very cool. Thanks for being here with us. Can you tell, you're obviously doing a funding round right now. Can you tell our viewers where they can reach you and where they can get some updates on your project?
Yeah, so you can sign up at our website, ndeipi.com, ndeipi.com, and just register. I send out monthly updates on our newsletter. And if you want to reach out directly to me, I'm on Twitter, T Moodley. I'm on Instagram, T Moodley, and also I'm on LinkedIn. So you can contact me and we can discuss anything you're looking to discuss.
Dr. Tyrone, awesome. All right.
Like Dr. Gray, but it's Dr. Tyrone.
I encourage anybody interested in this really exciting project to reach out to Dr. Tyrone. And this has been our first segment of the Voice of the Founders here on the Catalyst Effect in our association with Lions Den. Lions Den has amazing programming to facilitate growth in business and in the body of Christ. I'm really excited to be coordinating with them for the 2026 DFW Lions Den coming up here. Dr. Tyrone, thank you so much for being on and talking with us. Really excited to see your project.
Isaac, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.